If you're free-ranging your chickens right now, I need you to stop and listen to this because what I'm about to show you might be the reason you keep losing birds, keep losing eggs, and keep losing money without ever figuring out why. Free-ranging feels natural. It feels like the right thing to do, but it is quietly one of the most expensive mistakes in backyard homesteading, and almost nobody talks about it honestly. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why, and I'm going to show you the system that smart homesteaders are switching to instead. It costs less than you think, it produces more eggs, and it will change the way you think about raising chickens forever. Let's start with the problem, because you need to understand it before the solution makes any sense. When most people picture free-ranging, they picture happy chickens wandering the yard, scratching in the dirt, living their best life. And for the first few weeks, that's exactly what happens. But here's what nobody shows you in those pretty homestead videos. Free-ranging is a slow bleed. It bleeds your flock, it bleeds your eggs, and it bleeds your wallet one small loss at a time, until one day you add it all up and realize you've lost hundreds of dollars and half your birds. Think about the predators for a second. Hawks, foxes, raccoons, neighborhood dogs, even large owls at dusk. A free-ranging flock is basically an open buffet. I've talked to homesteaders who lost 3, 4, 5 birds in a single season to predators they never even saw coming. That's not bad luck. That's the design flaw of free-ranging itself. You're removing the one thing that actually keeps chickens alive, which is containment and structure. Then there's the egg problem, and this one stings because it's so avoidable. Free-range hens don't lay where you want them to lay. They lay in the bushes, under the porch, behind the woodpile. You'll spend 20 minutes every single day just hunting for eggs like it's some kind of scavenger hunt you never signed up for. And the eggs you don't find in time, spoiled, cracked, or stolen by snakes and rodents before you ever get to them. And here's the part that really gets people. Free-ranging destroys your garden. Chickens don't know the difference between a weed and the tomato seedlings you've been babying for 6 weeks. They'll scratch up your mulch, dig craters in your flower beds, and strip your vegetable garden bare in an afternoon. I've seen homesteaders lose an entire season's worth of seedlings to a flock that was just exploring the yard. So here's the real cost. Add up the predator losses, the wasted eggs, the destroyed plants, the feed they waste by trampling instead of eating, and you're looking at homesteaders losing anywhere from $200 to $600 a year, sometimes more, all in the name of a system that felt free but never actually was. Here's where most people get it wrong. They think the answer to bad free-ranging is more supervision. Watch the chickens more closely, herd them back at dusk, build a taller fence around the garden. But that's treating the symptom, not the disease. The real issue isn't supervision, it's structure, and that's where this hidden system comes in. It's not a coop, it's not a fully enclosed run either, because those come with their own problems, which I'll get to. It's something in between, something most YouTube channels never show you because it's not as flashy as watching chickens roam a field in golden hour lighting. It's called the rotational chicken paddock system, and once you understand how it works, you'll wonder why you ever did it any other way. Let me walk you through exactly how to build it, piece by piece. The first piece is the core structure, and this is your foundation. Instead of one coop and unlimited yard access, you build a central coop connected to multiple smaller enclosed paddocks, usually 3 to 4 sections, fenced off from each other. Picture a pie cut into slices, with the coop sitting right in the middle. Each paddock might be as small as 200 square feet for a flock of 6 to 8 birds. That's it. You don't need acres, you need smart division. The second piece is the rotation schedule, and this is where the magic actually happens. Every 5 to 7 days, you move your chickens from one paddock to the next. While they're in paddock 1, paddocks 2 and 3 are resting and regrowing. The grass comes back, the bugs repopulate, the soil recovers from all that scratching and pecking. By the time your chickens rotate back to paddock 1, it looks completely different, fresh, green, full of life again. This is the exact same principle that big regenerative farms use with cattle, just scaled down for your backyard.
Here's the part nobody tells you about this system. It's not just about containing the chickens. It's about using the chickens as a tool. When you rotate them through paddocks, they're fertilizing the soil, eating pest insects, and tilling the ground naturally with their scratching. You're not just protecting your flock anymore, you're actively improving your land every single week for free without lifting a shovel. The third piece is predator proofing, and this is non-negotiable. Each paddock needs hardware cloth buried at least 6 inches into the ground because foxes and raccoons dig, and standard chicken wire will not stop them, no matter what anyone tells you. Add overhead cover, even simple bird netting to block hawks. This single addition can cut predator losses by more than 80% compared to a completely open, free-range setup. I made this mistake myself in my first year. I skipped the overhead netting because I thought hawks wouldn't bother with a yard that close to the house. I lost 2 hens in 1 week before I finally added it. The fourth piece is the egg station, and this solves that scavenger hunt problem completely. Since your chickens are contained in a defined space, you place nesting boxes directly attached to the coop, accessible from every paddock. No more searching bushes, no more eggs going bad behind the woodpile. You walk out, open one hatch, and collect every egg your flock laid that day in under 2 minutes. The fifth piece is the garden buffer zone, and this is what saves your vegetables. You keep your actual garden completely outside the paddock rotation system, fenced separately if needed. But here's the smart move most people miss. You let the chickens rotate into your garden beds after harvest season is over. They'll clean up leftover plants, eat pest larvae hiding in the soil, and fertilize the bed for next season, all without ever touching a single seedling while it's growing. You get all the benefits of chickens in the garden with none of the destruction. Now let's talk numbers, because this is where the system really proves itself. A basic 4-paddock rotational system for 6 to 8 hens typically costs between $150 and $300 to build, depending on whether you're using scrap lumber or buying new materials. Compare that to the $200 to $600 a year you're losing through free ranging, and the system pays for itself in the first year alone. Homesteaders who switch to this method commonly report egg collection rates improving by 20 to 30%, simply because they're not losing eggs to hiding spots and spoilage. And predator losses, when hardware cloth and overhead netting are done correctly, drop dramatically, often down to 0 for an entire season. But the number that surprises people most is the land recovery. Free-ranged yards often turn into bare, compacted dirt within a few months because the chickens never leave any one area alone long enough to recover. With rotational paddocks, homesteaders regularly see grass and ground cover fully regenerate within a single rotation cycle. Your yard goes from a dust bowl to actual pasture, and it keeps getting better every season instead of getting worse. Let's talk about the transformation, because this is the part that really matters. Before this system, you're chasing chickens at dusk trying to herd them back to the coop. You're finding eggs weeks late, cracked and unusable. You're replanting garden beds that got destroyed overnight. You're anxious every time a hawk circles overhead because you know your flock is exposed. That's not homesteading freedom, that's homesteading stress dressed up to look natural. After this system, your chickens are safe, productive, and actually healthier because they're constantly moving to fresh ground instead of standing in their own waste. Your eggs are collected in minutes, not hunted for in hours. Your garden is untouched during growing season and enriched during the off-season. And your land, instead of degrading, is actually getting better every single rotation. You go from managing chaos to running an actual system, one that works whether you're standing there watching or not. This is the difference between a hobby that slowly drains you and a homestead that actually sustains you. If you've been free-ranging and telling yourself the losses are just part of the process, I want you to really sit with this. It's not part of the process. It's a design flaw you've been quietly paying for, in eggs, in birds, and in a garden that never quite makes it to harvest. The rotational paddock system isn't more work, it's smarter work. It's the difference between chickens that survive your yard and chickens that actually improve it. So here's what I want you to do. Look at your current setup this week. Figure out where you could section off even 1 or 2 small paddocks to start. You don't need the full system on day 1. You just need to stop the bleeding and start building something that actually works for you instead of against you. If this changed the way you're thinking about your flock, tell me in the comments what your biggest free-ranging loss has been, because I guarantee you're not the only one who's dealt with it. And if you want the full paddock build breakdown with exact measurements and materials, subscribe, because that video is coming next and you are not going to want to miss it. Stop losing chickens to a system that was never actually working. Build something that works with you instead.